Okay, good afternoon. Welcome. My name is Scott Fuller, and just want to make sure we're live. We are live here. Okay, fantastic. Again, Scott Fuller here, founder of leavingtobayarea.com, and today we continue our Market Insider series, where we travel all across the United States looking at some of the more popular places that people are relocating to. And today is no exception. Today we have Tom Daves on our program. Tom, welcome.
How you doing, Scott?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for joining us. I was really excited to get Sacramento in the mix. And again, we're not traveling too far out. We're staying in California. We're just going, an hour and a half northeast up to Sacramento, but we're seeing a lot of people go up to that area. And, whether it's retirement, whether it's, for a better cost of living, maybe, right? Go up there and look for a job that's going to be able to pay you maybe a little less, but be able to get you a lot more for your dollar. So real excited to have everybody on the webinar with us today. For a complete list of webinars and cities that we're featuring, you can go to marketinsiderseries.com. And also wanted to mention, we encourage questions on this, the webinar. So if you're joining us today, if you have any questions, you're going to see a little box that will allow you to ask some questions. And then we're also going to throw out a couple of polls at you, just to kind of gauge, how we can best answer some of the questions that you have. Okay, Tom, I want to turn it over to you right now. So tell us, you've been up in Sacramento for a long time. Clearly, you have a very successful real estate business. I think your information is going to be awesome today. Tell us a little bit about kind of your background and what you guys do up there in Sacramento.
Absolutely. Thank you, Scott. Yeah, so I've been in the real estate business for over 35 years, pretty much born and raised in the general Sacramento, Placer County area. And I just love it here. There's so many amazing things to offer for our lifestyle. It's just unbelievable. And I've been blessed enough to help a lot of families buy homes, sell homes, and create a lifestyle that they really enjoy. And the bottom line is it's all about lifestyle, right?
Absolutely. And I think for a lot of people who are watching this webinar right now, they're thinking maybe I can change my lifestyle geared a little bit differently than it is and maybe take advantage of that. So I think this is the perfect opportunity. And, Tom, I spent about 7 or 8 years in Sacramento. This was back probably during, a portion of the 80s and a portion of the 90s. And back then, Sacramento was it was a government town, right? I mean, it was the state capital. There wasn't a whole lot going on, and it was kind of, okay, well, we're halfway between San Francisco and Lake Tahoe. So there wasn't really a lot for Sacramento to kind of stand on its feet and say, this is a destination area. But in the last 10 to 15 years, that's changed, right?
Absolutely. Definitely changed. When you used to live in the greater Sacramento area, we were pretty much founded on, the state government, being, of course, the capital of California. So we had a lot of federal, state, government, county employment, but now it's really grown and expanded to high-tech, Hewlett-Packard, Oracle, Intel, a lot of high-tech companies, because the land is affordable to build, and then also the housing is affordable for the employees. And we also have a large group of a lot of medical. We have Adventist, we have Sutter, we have Kaiser. So a lot of our population is, also on the medical, but it's pretty vast employment base. And we do have, it's somewhat of a bedroom community.
Sure.
A lot of our population still drives to the Bay Area. But I will tell you that about 35 to 40% of our homes that are selling are from Bay Area buyers. People in your area that are selling and they're moving up to our area because, they can really, really get great values, and there's a great opportunity with the real estate here. So
yeah, and I think another thing that Sacramento's really come up on is entertainment as well, right? Because now you've got the Golden One Center, which is great, and hopefully the Kings will pick up their game a little bit. But you've got that, and you've got the rail yard right downtown that's being converted. They're going to have they're I believe they're breaking ground on a new Major League Soccer stadium there, which is huge.
Absolutely.
And they've redeveloped a lot of the downtown area. And then, of course, what you're talking about is a lot of these communities, especially northeast of downtown, that have just exploded. And I mean, they're beautiful, beautiful neighborhoods.
Absolutely. Don't forget the Giants. The AAA Giants are right
That's
here
right.
in West Sacramento.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Go Giants.
absolutely. So you've got a lot of things going on, and it's not like, okay, I'm going to buy a house up in Sacramento because it's cheaper. I have a better quality of life, but then I'm going to have to find something to do. I'm going to have to drive a different direction for an hour and a half. That's not really the case anymore.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So just to touch on some of the values and some of the price points and some of the areas in the communities, many of the viewers, I'm sure, have heard of these areas and locations. Of course, we have El Dorado Hills, which is just close by. It's up Highway 50 corridor. In El Dorado Hills, for example, I mean, you can buy a beautiful home that's about, for example, we have an example here, 3,100 square foot home, 5-bedroom, 3-bath, newer build for $669,000. It's just unbelievable.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Granite Bay is another popular area. It's over off of Highway 80 corridor, and $788,000. 3-bedroom, 3.5-bath, 3,000 square foot, built-in pool. Just a phenomenal area and location. Also, there's Lincoln, where you can buy a home, beautiful home, 3,000 square feet for $499,000. Roseville, of course, beautiful homes. Here's one, for example, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, $460,000. It's 2,000 square feet. Rockland, off of Highway 50, is another great area. 2,000 square feet, $485,000, as well as Sacramento. The Sacramento proper has even more affordable housing. You can buy a beautiful 1,600 square foot home for about $350,000. So it's great for people that want to buy and live here, or have a second home, or even as an investment property.
Yeah.
Pretty
And
exciting.
it sounds like with a lot of those newer communities, I mean, you're also going to have a varying price ranges, right? So you're going to have some areas where you can probably get in 350, 400,000.
Right.
And then all the way up to, obviously some beautiful exclusive communities that might be, closer to $1 million. But still, you take what you're getting up there, you would have to, double that price, and you're still not even going to, get to the point of what that same home would cost here in the Bay Area.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And what's so nice is how the developers have completely developed the beautiful golf courses and the community centers and all of the recreational facilities. We have over 6 golf courses close by. I'm a golfer, so I like to get out to the links. So there's great places. And then, as well as the active adults over 55, we have Del Webb Roseville, Del Webb in Lincoln, Rockland. So there's a lot of great over 55 communities that, of course, have all of the amenities, the tennis, golf, bocce ball, walking. Schools are really amazing. We have great school, whether public or private, or charter schools. Schools are amazing in the area. Plus, there's some local colleges. We have, of course, Sacramento State, American River. We have William Jessup University. So it's pretty exciting. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So going back, let's touch on, and I want to go back and touch on a little bit of some of the active adult communities, because I know a large portion of the folks that are maybe leaving the Bay Area, or considering leaving the Bay Area, maybe are at retirement age, or have retired recently, or maybe considering retiring soon. And so for them, it's thinking, okay, I've got a certain amount of equity that's built up in my property. I'm on a fixed income. Obviously, Sacramento market can be very conducive to that. What percentage of people, you know, that you guys are working with or that you see coming into the area are retirees versus, let's say, working families relocating to the area?
I would say probably about 50% of the Bay Area buyers are retirees, retiring. Just sold a home last week in Cameron Park, beautiful 5-acre parcel, and it's a beautiful 3,000 square foot home, 800,000. They are retiring. They want their exercise, so
they probably want it. They want a pretty big house for retirees. A lot of retirees saying, right. "I want to scale down,
right,
not up." But that's right. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, but the 55 plus communities are very, very active. We have a lot of large communities to facilitate, and it really works out great for someone, you know, that want to downsize. Now is pretty much the age of simplification.
That's right. You don't want to have a lot of exterior maintenance. You don't want to have a huge house to clean anymore. And right. And my understanding of a lot of those, you know, Del Webb communities is that there's a mix of property types, right? So you're going to have your single families, which might be smaller up to the larger ones, but you're also going to have, you know, maybe more of the condo and townhome style, you know, properties as well. So really a good mix.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a good mix. And what's really nice is most of them are single level because, you know, the baby boomer generation, anyone born from 1946 to 1964, I'm in that group. And I don't know.
No way, Tom, you're not in that group. You look too young.
Yeah. Single level is nice. Don't have to deal with the stairs, just for simplifying everyone's life.
Yeah. Fantastic. And what's generally kind of the price ranges as we're talking about some of these, you know, active adult communities? What kind of price ranges can you expect from what range on the bottom end to, you know, the upper end?
Yeah, well, they start off at 350,000 and they go all the way up to 1.2, 1.4 million. So there's a gamut.
And you're probably going to have some HOA dues, which may cover a lot of the, you know, common areas, a lot of the activities. Right. Is that how it works?
Right, correct. HOA dues, which covers all of the common area. It covers all of the, you know, the community grounds, the facilities, the pools, the tennis, everything. Yeah, covers the whole 9 yards.
That's awesome. Okay, great. I've got a question here from Robert. So what are some of the up and coming areas of Sacramento that he sees changing? So tell us maybe more about, you know, what are some of the hotter areas? Because obviously if you look at Sacramento now, it's kind of like you said, broken down into certain pockets. What are you seeing some of the hotter, you know, communities in the area?
So one hot community is Elk Grove, which is just down the I-5 corridor. It's southernmost city in Sacramento County. A lot of new homes, a lot of new builds. And then as you go up Highway 80, there's a lot of new communities out in Roseville and in Lincoln and in Rockland. So those are the high growth areas.
And are people typically opting to buy, because like you said, there's a lot of new construction, which in the Bay Area, you just don't see that. But I think in most of the rest of the country, you do. Are people opting for resale homes, or are they typically opting for new construction, or is it kind of a mix?
It's really kind of a mix. It's really 50-50. A lot of people really like the new homes and the new communities, but there's quite a few that, you know, they like the existing home, the standing inventory, because in a lot of the new home communities, we do have, there's Melrose tax, so there's additional taxes that need to be paid. So a lot of people aren't really interested in that.
Yeah. Well, and again, you kind of look at that, and I would say that a lot of that goes towards the schools, right? So if you know, the builders come in and they plan a community, they have to have a certain amount of, you know, schools, parks, everything else. And I would say that Mellow Roost kind of goes towards those costs, right?
Right, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. One other question here that we have. So talk to us about investors. Like, so if I'm interested in purchasing an investment property up in the Sacramento area, what are some of the specific areas that you might recommend that you could get maybe a little bit better cash flow, or, you know, have it easier to be able to keep rented and keep, you know, some of your vacancy and maintenance costs lower?
Sure, absolutely. Great question. Sacramento County proper does tend to have better values and higher rents than other outlying areas. You're able to buy a great home for $350,000, and you're able to rent that property out for $2,000 a month. So with a $20,000 down payment, you're going to be able to have a good property that's going to at least break even cash flow, or
Yep.
maybe a little cash flow. So Sacramento County, within the city of Sacramento, there's Rancho Cordova, as well as Elk Grove as well.
Okay, fantastic. And I'm sure you guys see some of those opportunities, you know, for people who are looking for a buy and hold rental strategy, right? So there's probably, you know, pretty conducive to that, especially maybe near the downtown area.
Right, absolutely. And we've seen a very stable appreciation. Our values have appreciated over the last 3 years at the rate of approximately 12%. So, of course, that's nice for an investor to realize the appreciation as well.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and again, we never want to make promises of appreciation. We hope that, you know, it continues on a good
Right.
scale. Another question from Julie. So how about property tax? Are there carryover tax bases between counties? And I think what she's talking about is if you sell a house, let's say in San Francisco County or Alameda County, can you keep your same tax basis if you move up to Sacramento County, Placer, El Dorado Hills? Do you know any of that off the top of your head? Because we're getting a little bit more specific into the tax piece.
Yeah, I know that they just approved a bill that authorizes certain counties moving to our area, but it's case by case. So, so I'll get back to you on that.
Yeah, well, and really it is. I mean, we've got 9 counties in the Bay Area, and there's a couple of counties that do participate in that. But some counties only are within county, right? And some will participate with other counties in different areas of California. I think we're seeing more counties adopt this, but it's going to be a while before you can say, okay, you know, from each county to go to another county, you're going to be able to keep that same tax basis. But it looks like it's, you know, I think they're working to get that there. Another question, how is the rental market in the 55 plus communities? I'm assuming what she means by this is that if you're being able to rent a property versus maybe purchase a property, and if I'm wrong on assuming that's the question, let me know, Julie. But if you were to rent a property, are there rental opportunities, you know, for a period of time in those Del Webb communities or other communities?
The rental market is pretty tight, to be honest with you. There are waiting lists, and it is difficult to find a rental. And in many cases, they are available. They can be located, but the vacancy rate is significantly low right now, actually.
Okay. When you say a waiting list, there's a waiting list for rental properties, but not a waiting list to purchase properties. Right?
Correct. Right. That's correct.
Because you know, clearly any community, whether it's an adult active community or whether it's a townhome or a condo community, they're only going to allocate a small percentage of the units in the community that are going to be allowed to be rental properties. And so when you have that stipulation, then that's going to, you know, like you said, create a larger demand and create, in a lot of cases, a waiting list to be able to do that.
Sure.
Okay, so it looks like let me rephrase the question here. So can she buy a house, 55 plus community, rent it out just as easily as a non-55 plus community? So that goes back to, I think, what we were talking about. You know, if it hasn't reached the threshold that's been determined by the community association, right? Then what would you say on that one, Tom?
Yeah, so absolutely. So if someone purchases a property in a 55 plus community, they can rent it out. Uh, there's no restrictions. And based on what I just said, there are people waiting in line. So if someone wants to buy a property as an investment property in a 55 plus community, then you can definitely rent it out, get some high rents, and have a nice return as well.
Excellent. Okay, so that can be a very good opportunity for that. Let's talk a little bit more about kind of the industry and the employment. So, as we know, historically, downtown Sacramento has been mostly government, but a lot of the areas that you guys are focusing on now, and a lot of buyers are moving to, Folsom, El Dorado Hills. Tell us about some of those, employers, industries, and the growth there.
Sure. Again, yeah, so we do have a lot of the high tech, Hewlett Packard, Intel, Oracle. A lot of the high tech is moving to our area, as well as we have a lot of healthcare employment between Sutter, Kaiser, and just a lot of the local businesses. We have a lot of wineries. A lot of people are moving from the Bay Area and buying acreage, buying land, buying property, opening up their vineyard and winery. A lot of people, that's been a long time goal. And plus it's pretty fun. And the climate is perfect in our area and within the foothills for grapes and for vineyards and for wineries. It's pretty fun.
And it's funny because I think historically, you think Napa Valley was for the West Coast was pretty much wine country, right? Which has always been known as Sonoma and some of those areas. Livermore, which is in the East Bay, clearly has made a name for itself in wine country, and like you said, up there as well. So it gives it a lot of a lot to choose from. It makes it fun.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, I've got a couple more questions here. So Susan mentioned that she heard there's a bill on the 2020 ballot that allows a homeowner in CA to transfer their property tax base to any property in any county in California, regardless of price, but you'd have to be over 55. Hoping that passes.
Yeah, absolutely.
That goes through. There may be pushback on the county level, but we're hoping that goes through. Another question. How do the locals feel about the surge of newcomers? Tom, you love us all, right? Or do you not?
Absolutely. In the most part, everyone welcomes the newcomers, Bay Area buyers. A lot of the people that are selling here are moving out of state. So they're really welcoming the Bay Area buyers to come in and purchase their home. My wife is from the Bay Area. She has a lot of friends, so we're constantly having parties and gatherings, and there's definitely a great community and a lot of great camaraderie as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's good because there's and I would say more so, Linda, kind of see what I'm seeing on this end because I do see a lot of this. San Francisco to Sacramento, I don't think that there's too many people that have an issue with that. It maybe becomes a little bit more when it's out of California, but that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
And tell us more about transportation. So as Sacramento has grown, how are the freeways, mass transit, public transportation, things like that?
Yeah, we have some great freeway systems, Highway 80, Highway 50, I-5, plus we have regional transit, local regional transit, as well as Amtrak. It is getting busier and busier, but nothing compared to the Bay Area. I was actually in San Francisco this morning. I left at about 6 a.m. and I was driving from San Francisco to Sacramento, and the traffic was great. I'm glad I wasn't going the other direction because, of course, it gets pretty busy. But locally, our commute is great. Anyone that let's say if someone works downtown Sacramento, the normal commute time from Roseville to Sacramento with no traffic is normally about 25 minutes. And during a busy morning commute time, you can normally add about another 10 minutes to that commute. So
Okay.
we have, pretty good system, great highways and byways. So it's pretty good.
How many people are keeping their job in San Francisco and actually commuting, whether it's 3, 4, 5 days a week?
Yeah, I would say that it's a small percentage. I would say probably 10, 15%. There's a lot of telecommuting. A lot of people work out of their home, which is great. But there is still a portion of our local region that does commute to the Bay Area. Yeah.
Okay. Question from Julie. So how does the cost of utilities compare in the Bay Area to because of colder winters and hotter summers? So not sure if you've analyzed, utilities, but from people that you've talked to, do you know if there's much difference in utility costs in Sacramento versus the Bay Area?
Sure. There is a slight difference. Of course, we have pretty hot summers here. It's always over 100 degrees for usually, a couple of weeks. So of course, that will require more energy, more power. The winters are pretty much the same, but of course, solar is very popular, and a lot of people utilize solar. That keeps their utility bills down. But there is I would say that overall, it's probably a little bit more than the Bay Area. I know in a lot of locations, you don't even have air conditioning in a lot of homes. Do you really need it?
Well, that's right. I mean, until you start getting out into the East Bay along the 680 corridor and out towards the Central Valley, unless you're out there, most of them it's going to have central heating, but it's not going to have central AC.
Right.
And you generally don't really need it. Are the new home builders, is it pretty common for them to start, include the solar in the package?
Almost all of them. And they're extremely energy efficient.
Yeah.
And they have the package with solar. So to keep things economical.
Yeah, so we're seeing, I mean, if it's done right, if a solar system's installed correctly, or maybe an average electrical bill of $10 a month, average, over a period of 12 months. Now that doesn't include gas, but is that kind of, what are you guys seeing on your end?
Yeah, that's pretty close. Maybe a little bit more. That's pretty close.
Okay. Okay, another question that we have here. Rob asks, what are the disadvantages of buying in the Sacramento area? So if there was, maybe a couple things where, whether it's from an investment standpoint or a lifestyle for living there, what would you say is maybe, a disadvantage?
That's a good question.
You probably weren't expecting that question. Putting you on the hot seat.
Yeah. Can't really think of any disadvantages to buying it in our area, in our market. I'm just kind of drawing a blank on that.
Well, let me kind of give my 2 cents on this, because we work with a lot of people who are looking to invest in real estate. And so they start in the Bay Area. Now, let's say, for example, whether it's residential or maybe it's 5+ units, so you're getting more into the commercial side of it. Unless if you've got a lot of money to spend, it doesn't really make sense to invest in the Bay Area, in my opinion. The opportunities to get a good return on investment and cap rate and all these other things you're looking at aren't great. And so, are the investment opportunities for real estate investors good in Sacramento, or are you kind of saying, you know what, we may not have the best market for that either, you might want to look out of state?
Well, we have good investment opportunities here. I wouldn't say that they're great as far as month-over-month cash flow. We do have good appreciation, but as far as month-over-month cash flow, I think out of state would definitely be. I've heard some great investment opportunity in other markets out of the area.
Yeah, and we're typically telling people in the Bay Area, like I said, unless if you've got a ton of money ready to go and you've got to do something with it quickly, it probably doesn't make sense to invest
Yep.
anywhere around here. That's my opinion. Everybody's gonna,
Absolutely.
you may not like that, but yeah. Irene has a question just regarding being able to look at Del Webb homes online. Irene, what I'll probably do is, since there's a lot of different resources that I would probably ask, we get you connected with Tom. He can give you a little bit more information on that. I think what we found historically is if somebody, is interested in a particular active adult community, they might go look at that. And of course, the people who are selling in that market really want you to, buy that market. You want to make sure you kind of keep it open and look at all of your options, right, of a lot of the different types of communities that are available, and have somebody who can, get you some information,
Right.
Options on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's always a good idea to have a plethora of different communities to consider. So the first thing we do, of course, once we connect with someone, is just ask a lot of questions and what we call a needs analysis, what you're really looking for, what they're looking for, so we can really serve them. And then we can make our best advice based on what their needs are, long-term goals, to really help them out.
And that leads into a question we just got from Robert. Is there a website that Tom would recommend to get an idea of listings? That's typically a customized web search that Tom would create for you based off of what you're looking for. So, if we said, okay, well, here's a website you can go and you can look at everything that's available, every price range, every property type, that probably wouldn't help you a lot. So it's more of just, kind of identifying what is it you're looking to accomplish, what's your time frame, price range, everything else, and then be able to get really specific, right, with that type of a list.
Yeah, you can just go to tomdaves.com and everything is available. Everything that is currently on the market for sale, whether it's our listing, another agent's listing, another broker's listing. Plus, we do have some off-market properties available that are coming up where it's not actually on the market, which is kind of nice as well.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about recreation. Now, clearly, being so close to Tahoe,
right? Yeah.
And skiing is going through what, like the 4th of July this year?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Squaw Valley is still open. It just snowed up there last weekend, but they'll be open until the 4th of July. So Lake Tahoe is only really about an hour away. You can just hop on Highway 80 and you can pop up to, either Sugar Bowl. I'm a skier, ski at Sugar Bowl. My kids are on the ski team there. That's one of the closer ski areas. That's an hour. You can go on up over the summit to, of course, Squaw Valley, Alpine, North Star, or if you're going up Highway 50, there's Sierra Tahoe, there's Heavenly Valley, there's Kirkwood. So there's just some amazing ski areas. And then, of course, obviously, Lake Tahoe is beautiful in the summertime as well for hiking, skiing, golfing, which is pretty cool. Locally, we have a lot of biking. We have the American River Bike Trail. We also have boating. We have Folsom Lake, Lake Clementine. We have Rollins Lake. So there's a lot of lakes that are close by. One day I went snow skiing in the morning, and then I came home and went water skiing in the afternoon. That's how close they are. So
that's awesome. And you've got the Sacramento River, the American River, right?
Absolutely. Sacramento
for boating as well, and anything else.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. I think we've probably covered most everything on here. Is there anything else, Tom, that you wanted to add on that maybe we didn't cover, or any final questions that we might have?
No, I think we covered pretty much everything. If anyone has any questions, of course, reach out to Scott or myself. We'd be more than happy.
Absolutely.
To questions.
Okay. Well, Tom, thanks again. This has been great information. For those of you who caught it live, that's great. You're able to get some live questions in. We will also have this recorded. So within the next week, we will have a recorded version available if you'd like to watch it again, or maybe pass it along to a friend who you think might be interested in taking a look at it. And as always, you can reach us at info@leavingthebayarea.com. And Tom, thank you again, sir. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Scott. Great to see you.
Okay. All right. Take care. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.